Hello everyone, welcome to Crafts by the Bow, my Facebook Live. I think I've got it all set up and I haven't had an orientation problem, the sound's working, so there's probably something else not working. If you could just say hello and then I know that you can hear me as well. Okay. So while we're just waiting, hi Jane, hi, thanks. I'm never quite sure if somebody can hear me, but, and last week a couple of people said it was really quiet, and when I played it back I could hear myself sort of just really well, but I'm never quite sure if it's my settings or somebody else's. So how's your week, Jane? Is it any cooler over there? It's a little bit cooler here in Alberta. We've been waiting for a thunderstorm all day, but it seems to have just skirted round us and gone. So I'm hoping that's it. We're not getting another thunderstorm today. But I am going to start and cut some paper just while we wait for a few more people to join us. We are using this daisy garden set, that's why I have it put out. But I'm going to cut my cardstock because I don't have it pre-cut. And what I'm going to need is I only need one card base, but oh, you had thunderstorms this afternoon. Oh, you keep them over there, I don't want them. You have to cut two pieces from a piece of card, of course, so I'm just going to decide which way I want it to go, and I think this time I might have it orientated differently. So I'm going to score it on the long side at 5.5, and then I'm going to cut it. Oh, is it quiet because everybody's had their shots or because it's too warm to be out? I'm going to cut it at 4.25. Okay, and I'm going to put one away because I don't need this one. So. And while I'm here, hi Laurie from Pincher Creek. Are you on vacation? I realise you're not in Cochrane if you're in Pincher Creek, but are you camping, Laurie? Oh yeah, Jane, I like to listen to them and I like to watch them. When we were with Anne-Marie, I loved watching those electrical storms that you had, but I've really gone off them at the moment because it's quite warm here and it's just making it really muggy with the thunderstorms. Okay, so I'm also going to cut a piece of basic white. It's the thinner one, not the thick one. And so I'm just going to cut it in half at 5.5 and pop that one aside. So I don't need that one. But I do need to have this cut directly in half. So I'm going to cut it at 4.25. And this is going to be for our stamping. Okay, but I think at the moment that's all I need to cut. I do need to trim later. Oh, nice, Laurie. Well, you have a wonderful time with your friend. Isn't it nice to be able to go and visit for a change? Okay, so I've got my base card cut and I've got two pieces of basic white cut. And so I'll show you what we're going to do. I'm actually going to make this card tonight, and it's using this beautiful daisy garden, and I've only stamped in one colour, and then I've just coloured the centres of the flowers. So hi Anne-Marie, how's the gardening? You doing okay? So I love navy and white. I think it's always sort of an elegant match, whether it's clothes or inks, whatever. And I didn't want to have to do too much colouring or too much bling and embellishments, and I think it's just perfect as it is. So this is what we're going to make, and I'm using this stamp set. Now for a long time, I didn't even see this in the annual catalogue. Oh, you got rained out, Anne-Marie. Yeah, Jane was saying that it's a bit stormy today. So this is the stamp, and you see it's just so big. A moment ago when I cut that piece of card into 4, this would be the size of a full card front. And can you see? It's actually a bit bigger than the card front, which gives you lots and lots of opportunities. You can just stamp on colour, you can stamp and do like a spotlight technique where you add just circles or other little flowers on top. Maybe I'll do that one of the sessions, and then you know what we're doing. You know, you can use just part of it. You can print this out onto a full sheet for a front, cut it right in half and make 2 cards. But if you're looking for this, I thought it was going to be with the background stamps. And so when you look at the annual catalogue and the background stamps, I know they're near the back, just bear with me. There we go. I thought it would be with these because it's a big stamp, like the full size stamp, but it wasn't there. So it took me a while when I was first looking for it, because I'd seen somebody else use it, and for the life of me I just couldn't find it in the catalogue. But it's here on page 106 next to this butterfly one, which I also have, and then it's this tiny little picture here, which I don't think does it any justice at all, because you don't realise what a great stamp it is. Now here's something a little bit like that spotlight technique that I was talking about, where you cut out little pieces or make a whole circle with an image on and put that on. So we might do some of that one week. But yeah, it's here. And the only trouble with one of the big stamps is you have to have the big block. I'll just get mine. So it's this big block, and I don't use it for many other things. So I do have one, and you know, it's a beautiful block, don't get me wrong, but I find it quite difficult for my hand. I've got a little bit of arthritis in my thumb and finger, and so when I try to stretch my hand out like that, it's uncomfortable for me. So I tend not to use this. What you can do is put it on the stamp box itself. Oops, upside down. Put it on the stamp box, ink it up, and use it like that. So you use this as a stamp block. But what I prefer to do is use the Stamparatus. So that's what we're going to do this evening. And I don't know, Jane, do you have one of these? I know Anne-Marie doesn't, and I'm not sure if Laurie does. I use mine in fits and starts. I don't use it all the time, but when I've got a big stamp or I'm making a lot of the same thing, then I'll use it. And all it is, let me move these magnets. It's sort of a stamping base, and then I've got the little mat that has a bit of cushioning in case I want to use photopolymer. I don't want it to go that way, I want it to go this way. And then I just have the paper that goes with it. You don't actually have to buy this, you can use any paper. I just like being able to see the inches on there. And it has 2 hinged plates made out of Perspex. And what it means is you can put a stamp on here and press it down onto your card, and you don't have to have that big unwieldy stamp. So you can press it down and you get your stamped image on your card. If you haven't pressed really hard enough, you can re-ink it, and your card isn't going anywhere, so you can re-ink over the top of something. And then with this second plate, you can set it up so that your first plate maybe stamps an image, say it's stamped a snowman, and this one you'd have the sentiment on. So then you can stamp your sentiment, and all you need to do is put a card base in, pop this one down, squash it, do the image. Oh yeah, Jane, I love making my own DSP. So, and this is a good one for that too. So we should do that in the class as well. So yeah, and then you go and just stamp your sentiment. But I don't need both on for today, so I'm just going to take one off. And what I'm going to do is find where I just hid that box. I always put my box underneath this right hand side plate when I'm using it, so that I don't accidentally press down on it and put tension on here or break it. So I know then it just stays in the right place. And then what I'm going to do is, whoops, I've got my little magnets. Now these magnets, it comes with 2 and they are so strong. If by any chance you get the 2 magnets together, what often happens is one breaks in half. So just be careful with them. They're so super strong. Now I know that I want all of this image to be on my card, and I'm just going to put my piece of card here. If I'm stamping with this, I tend to leave a 1-inch block at the top and a 1-inch block at the side, just to make it easy. My stamp is quite clean, so I'm just going to place it on top of my card here. Now, if I put it here, you can see that not the top flowers wouldn't get on. So I've got time to just move it and pop it exactly where I want. It's not all on the card base, and that's fine, so I'm not bothered about having all these stems, but I do want to have this little bud here. There we go. And then all you do is you close that up, and it will take the stamp over with it, so it's not there. Yeah, under the clear plate, Jane, I always put my box, because otherwise I'm just frightened I press on it by accident, or I squash it or something. Now I'm just going to put my little magnets on. So I have to look to see where I've got a space. And the fortuitous thing about having a broken magnet is it means I've got 3 little pieces of magnet. So I do sometimes have to move them because I'll have them just in the way of a stamp or something. So it's a bit fiddly just trying to find out where to put them and making sure that you haven't got any of the magnets stuck under the stamp. Okay, so then I'm just going to stamp it up. I actually like to use the ink spots, the little square ink blocks, to stamp up the, to ink up the stamp, because it's a bit easier. But the big one works perfectly well. And all you need to do is just tap it onto your stamp. And then you close it over, close that little door over and press. And I push quite hard on it. I know some people will just press it gently like this, but you know, I'm a bit heavy-handed with things. Okay, so now you've got your image, but you can see that these little flowers here, they're not fully inked up. So you can close the gate again, or the door, and press. And if that doesn't make them appear, then you just ink up again. Just remember though that every time you ink up and stamp of, put it over the top of your stamped image, the image gets a little bit darker because it's getting more and more ink on it. So if you only want a light outline, you know, you just have to remember not to stamp everything too hard. Now this one isn't coming out just as nicely as I want it, so I'm only going to put some ink there. Let's see. See if I put it on the right one. Yeah, that's it. And now this little flower here, I want a bit more. If you were using this on a block, hi Janet, how are you? If I was using this on a block, I wouldn't be able to do this because I wouldn't be able to line it up again. Nice. So I'm happy with that. While I've got this out, I'm going to get my inside layer, and I want to stamp just a little bit of it. Not quite sure which piece I want. I think I might just have this piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press down on here just to get a very faint image, so I know where I need to put this inside piece. I don't want too much. It's a little bit cheating doing it this way, but it works for me. And then I'm just going to ink just at the side. There we go. And that's going to go inside our card. So I won't show you again that till later. Oops. See how that magnet just jumped because I had that one in my hand and I put it near. And then the last thing I'm going to do is my envelope. And because I've got this image here, I know roughly what I'm going to get. So how far over does that go? I'm going to, might just put it there. I might put it into the middle. And I'm going to put a little piece of paper underneath because I don't want all of the envelope to be stamped on. And I'm going to pop a magnet on as well. Oh, that's those strong magnets. Okay. And this way you get a nice little pattern on your envelope for not having to do very much work. There you go. Right, now I'm not going to need this again. That's pretty. But I'm not going to need this again, so I'm going to pop it away. And to clean it, it's just the same as if it was on a block. All you need to do, I'm going to use my chamois, just go over it. There we are. Now you could use a baby wipe on that as well, or a wet microfiber cloth or something. Whatever you normally use to clean your stamps with works. I'm going to peel that off. Pop it back in the box because we don't need this again. And then put that on the floor and I'll get a little bit more space. Okay, I can see I've already got a green thumb. No, a blue thumb. I had a green thumb when I was out gardening, but not anymore. Just a blue thumb now. Okay, so I'm going to just colour in just the centres of the flowers, just like we have on our original. I'm going to pop it here so you can see what I'm doing. And I've got the Dark Daffodil Delight blend. And I'm just going to go just roughly. I'm not even, being really careful. What does look nice after you've done this is if you put a little bit of Wink of Stella on. So just the centres glisten. And that does look pretty. Okay. And let's do the inside of the card ones as well. I'm not going to do the envelope though. Okay, and that's it. That's all the colouring. I told you it was quick and it was easy. Well, what we've got to do now though is to cut this down so that it'll fit onto our card front, because at the moment it's the exact same size as the card front, and I want it to have a little gap or a little border all the way around. So I'm just going to take 1/4 of an inch off, and now you can choose which of the parts you want to chop off. If you find that you had too much white over at this side, you chop a bit off there. I'm going to chop a little bit off the leaves. So my card will be now 5 1/4 inches long. Let's get rid of that piece. And then, oh, but I like all of it. I'm going to take a little bit off this side, I think, because I like this. But I like that. Oh, I don't know. Right, I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to chop it up 4, so I have some of the bud. There we are. Some of the bud, and I got that nice flower that I liked as well. Okay. So we can already attach this to the front of our card. And now that this measures 4 by 5 1/4, it's the same size as that piece that I did for the inside. So I'm going to attach that inside and attach this one on the outside. Just roll that up a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to get my bone folder as well. Excuse my reach. Oh, this is the one that I actually squash ink down with. But it will work. Ooh. So your new restrictions, have they all come in now in Ontario? What can you do that you couldn't do before? Anything? I'm going to pop this on the inside as well. haven't noticed any new restrictions here at the moment. And when you go out, there are some people wearing masks, some not. Some stores still say masks recommended. Some people don't seem at all bothered. Oh, you can eat inside restaurants. Oh, nice. But at the moment, you probably just want to sit on the patio anyway and stay cooler. Okay, so next I'm just going to do this little bit of stamping for the sentiment. And the set that we use doesn't have any sentiments. So I just chose a small, narrow sentiment from a different set. You could use any set you wanted. And I used this thinking of you here. I might use the thank you one this time. And this little piece of white card is only a ½ inch wide. So I only wanted to have a narrow little piece. Let's take that off. So here's the thank you. Let me have a look. I'm just going to lay it on one of my little strips. And these are actually offcuts that I keep in my box from when I trim the basic white to go on the inside of a card. You end up with a piece that's just slightly bigger than ½ inch. And thanks, Laurie. Yeah, it makes a difference when the inside's pretty, doesn't it? So yeah, you end up with these little pieces, and these are just perfect. I keep them all perfect for these. So that little thank you would go nice on there, but I might move it over just slightly. And this is actually just a little bit longer than I need, because I've got the blue piece that's longer as well. Oh, the white is just the right size. It's just the blue piece that's longer. Okay, so I was thinking I was going to have to trim both parts, but I only have to trim that. So I'm not going to stamp it right on the edge. Let's find a stamp block that's not too big. Okay, and I always put mine on at a little bit of an angle, because otherwise I find it hard to see a straight line. So if I have it lined up on my block and then I'm trying to look through these lines or line those bits up, and it's too difficult. So I've got this thank you stamp, and I'm going to offset it a little bit. I don't want it right at the edge, and I don't want it right in the middle. I'm hoping that's straight. Yes, it is. Straight enough. Okay. Let me just find where I hid. Find where I'd hidden my chamois. You getting ready for Christmas in July now, Jane and Anne-Marie and Janet? So it seems strange I'm going to see you again just on Saturday. I don't feel very Christmassy today, but I will do by Saturday. Okay, so I just put a whole strip of the adhesive down there, and I'm going to pop this right in the middle. It's a 3/4 inch strip of Night of Navy. So again, it's only like a little offcut. You don't need much. And then I'm going to cut it so that it's just the same width as the white. And that white already is. So I'm just going to trim off this little piece of blue. I think everybody's got their Christmas in July packages as well. So Sue said that she'd got hers today, and I know you got yours at the end of the week, or did you get it? No, you didn't get it yesterday. Anne-Marie got hers, but Jane, I think you got yours on Friday or something. So everybody's got theirs. Okay, now let's find some dimensionals and pop that on. I'm looking forward to us being able to craft together. And Anne-Marie's crafting as well. So. Okay. And I'm just going to pop that. It doesn't matter that I'm covering over a little bit of this flower. I'm going to pop that on there. And then I've got my seam binding. It's white ribbon. I don't have many white ribbons at the moment, and I didn't have any navy that would work. So I'm using my seam binding, and I'm just going to cut a little piece. I usually need about 8 or 9 inches to do a bow. So I'm just going to cut this off. I'll use my ribbon scissors. Oh, Anne-Marie, you're a very nice crafter. You had lots of practice over the last 3 weeks. Oh, Jane. So your craft room's going to be your granddaughter's bedroom. Oh. When do they arrive? When are they coming? Let's make a little bow on here. You can easily just tie a little bow as well. It's not a difficult one we're doing. Okay. I like this though because it just means my bows are the same size. I'm not very good at getting 2 bows exactly the same. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over and find a little glue dot. Sunday, oh wow. It's exciting at your house. So after you've finished crafting and making the Christmas things, then it's time to get ready for baby things. Oh, that'd be so nice. Okay, and then I'm going to cut the tails this way this time. Oh, not with those scissors, I'm not. I knew as soon as I started to cut that wasn't going to go through there. I keep just this pair that Stampin' Up sent me for on stage last year, for centre stage. I keep this pair just for cutting ribbon. And that one's a bit longer, so let's just trim that. And that one's a bit too pointy, so I'm going to trim that one. There we go. Throw those little pieces away. And so there we are. That's our card for today. It was very fast. It's a really easy, nice little card. So, and there's the one I'd made already. And can you see what I was saying about stamping it? I inked up 3 times on the Stamparatus for this one. And you can see how much darker it is than this one, where I know I only did it twice. So I hope you like that little card. I am going to show you the card that I'll be making on my YouTube video tomorrow. So it's the same card, the same layout, but I just coloured it in a little bit more. I coloured the greenery. I made an extra little layer with the granny apple green, and I made this front part smaller. And then I used the seam binding, but I coloured it. And I couldn't decide if I wanted the Night of Navy or the granny apple green. And so in the end, I made like a 2-tone ribbon. And again, it's got a little bit on the inside. And so I will be remaking that on my YouTube tomorrow. You're getting a craft at the dining room table. Nice. And I have just started to work on a card kit that I'm making for this stamp set. And I'm going to do a class just with the stamp set and the blends. So the 2 soft succulent blends and the 2 daffodil delight blends. And I will be sending out the newsletter if it hasn't already gone. I had scheduled it to go at supper time tonight, so it may have already arrived. Gives you some idea for other full-size stamps. Yeah, there are lots in the catalogue. And there's also one, I think there's a Christmas one too that goes with that set that we're using on Saturday. In this sort of Christmassy. Let me just have a look. Like a foliage one. Where is it? I know there is one. Like festive. Oh, there. Look, it's right in front of my eyes. This one. This is a large one as well. So I think it'd be the same kind of thing where you can colour it in. You can just add a little sentiment or even a back inlay. So it's this one here. Look. So there are quite a few scattered throughout the catalogue. It's just difficult to find them, Jane. So, but this class that I was talking about, this Daisy Garden one, it's a $70 class for the stamps and the 2 sets of blends. And then because I'm going to run it not as a Zoom meeting, but as a full-length video so that you can craft whenever you want to, the things that I'm giving as my thank you are the supplies for these cards. So you will get supplies to make 6 cards as my gift, and I will send those separately. If you want to order this yourself, you can, and you order it through me, that's fine. I will send these separately. Otherwise, I have to wait for the stamps to come in, and then I can make these kits to send out. And it's really pretty and really easy little cards, but everything is pre-cut for you. You only have to stamp, colour and assemble. I love this one with just the embossing here as well, and we've coloured the seam binding ribbon and popped one of the little gold bumblebees on, and then this one has an embossed layer and you just colour the 3x3 piece. So if you want to buy just the stamp set, you can. You don't have to buy the full class with the blends, in which case I would send you supplies for 3 cards. But you should be getting information about that in your newsletter. But I do really, really like this daffodil set. I think daisy set. Do you know, I can't say 2 words in a sentence that make any sense today. I think I've been out in the sun too long. Yeah, Laurie, if you're going to take that class, have a look on the newsletter when it comes. It was scheduled for supper time, and I don't know if I scheduled it for 5 o'clock or for 6 o'clock Mountain Time. But I love this. And if you would like me to show you some of the techniques with it, we can certainly do that another week. We can do the spotlight technique and we can do some embossing and things. So if you've any ideas of things that you'd like me to do on a Tuesday as well, I'm always open to listening and to putting a class on. Even if it's on my YouTube, if we don't do it on a Facebook one, I can do that on the YouTube, and then we can show you some of the techniques or different ways to make cards and different fun folds. So I am going to love you and leave you now. I know it was only a quick session, but I know Richard's outside cooking my supper. So if I wait much longer, I think it might be like a burnt supper. So just burnt offerings. But thank you so much for joining me. I'm really enjoying having our Facebook Lives. It's such fun to meet with you every week. And I can't wait for Saturday when we're going to see everybody in person. So thanks again, ladies, and I'll see you all soon. Good night. Good night, Anne-Marie.